listen to all your favorite shows on VoxWave.com.
VoxWave.com.
VoxWave.com, streaming your favorite jazz, blues, and R&B 24/7.
Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to this Friday's edition of Shaynel's 3 Cents. This week we're here with my guest, the awesome, superb Miss Rochelle McAllister, the president and founder of Single Parents Alliance. Welcome, Rochelle.
Hello there. How are you?
I am just dandy. The sun is out today.
That's awesome.
I'm excited about that. So, again, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the show. For those of you that have been waiting, again, we thank you for patiently doing so. Rochelle, if you could start off by telling us a little bit about your organization and how you got started and what motivated you to start Single Parents Alliance.
That will be my pleasure. My name is Rochelle McAllister, as Shaynel just stated, and the name of the organization is Single Parent Achievers. And what it is that we pretty much, it's about improving single parents' quality of life. And how I got started with doing this amazing organization is after raising 4 amazing children by myself after 10 years of my marriage dissolving. It was just not enough support out for middle-class single parents that were trying to make a difference in their children's lives and also their own. And so just in 2006, I had a wonderful, feeling to start Single Parent Achievers, but the program did not get started until 2012. So that's my reason for doing it, is because of the pain and that I dealt with as being a single parent, and knowing that single parents do not want to do things alone. We find ourselves doing it alone, but we don't want to do things alone. So therefore, the program is to give that support. So it's more so like being a surrogate to, anyone that's doing it alone, just to provide that support.
Okay. 2 things. One of the first things I heard you say, the name of the organization is Single Parent Achievers.
Yes.
Shame on you for not correcting me.
That's okay.
Look, those of you that know me know that I'm always right. And if I'm wrong, please correct me so that I can go back to being right. So we want to make sure that everyone knows that we are here with Single Parent Achievers.
Yes.
The other thing that I noticed you mentioned, finding resources for middle-class single parents.
Exactly.
I believe that there's, and I talk about this all the time, and we're going to continue to do so, the resources that are out there because most single parents, and I think it's almost 70%, live underneath the poverty level.
Exactly.
But for those of us that have tried to manipulate our jobs and our resources, oftentimes, as you said, being in the middle class, there are problems that we run into.
Because there's not enough resources out here for us. And we're out here working. For me, I work 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 jobs at a time to take care of my family. And, it still wasn't enough, but I did what it is that I had to do, where I did not want to go toward the system. And anyone that does go into the system, that's fine. But it was something that I did not want to do. So therefore, what I was looking for, I could not find for middle-class families. And so for Single Parent Achievers, it's about helping them improve their quality of life, and that's with parenting skills, health and wellness, and finances.
Okay. I have actually received an email last week from someone that I actually ended up referring off to you, but she ended up talking about the problems with, again, being in the middle class, that she doesn't make enough to receive, TANF services, to receive WIC services.
Exactly.
But she also doesn't make enough to make sure that all of her bills and expenses are taken care of.
Exactly.
And so I think that was really important that you mentioned that, because people do need to understand that when we're talking to people about a specific instance and some resources for them, we want to be able to say, hey, well, there's also resources for people that fall into a different category.
Exactly.
Because we certainly don't want to leave those individuals behind.
And really, I think that's a lot with knowledge, just providing the knowledge that's needed and then giving them that support. So if we can make sure that they understand, resume writing and preparing them for interviews, making sure they have the appropriate clothing that's needed for the interviews, there's so many things that we can actually do that we can allow or help the parent go out and get exactly what it is that they need in order to be successful for themselves and their children.
Okay. Now, when does that start? I remember, for me, the I guess what we call the Home Alone moment. Oh my God, I'm a single parent.
Right.
So when is our moment of awe when we realize that, we're no longer in the relationship, either, our relationship dissolved, our marriage dissolved, we ended up becoming a widow or whatever. When is it that you think that shock kind of sets in?
I think it sets in when you know that you're the only one trying to make it all come together. You're the one that's sitting there. I used to have this saying about, pen and paper, they were my partner. And what I mean by that is because I love to write. Mm-hmm. And because I love to write, I used to write to God, like, let me write down any and everything that I need, because I need so much. Mm-hmm. And it was trying to figure out, like, for school supplies, for school uniforms, for so many different things that were needed. You looked and it's like, okay, that one check had to make sure it took care of all 4 of my amazing children at that time.
And everything on that list.
Everything on the list. And so that's when you have the aha moment and say, wow, okay, I'm really doing this alone. But we're doing it alone super-handedly in the natural. That's it. Because most definitely the Lord most definitely made sure that we have everything that we need is in our it's there for us, but it's about the knowledge. Mm-hmm. And making sure that we have the knowledge that we need to go and get what it is that's there for us. So, yeah, those aha moments came for me when it was like, okay, you know what? I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I'm talking about, all the things that we have to do. And for any single parent that's out there, all the things that you have to do. But I think that that's what it was for me. That was the aha moment, to just say, wow, I have to take care of this, that, and the other.
Is there, and this may not apply to you, but again, feel free to answer as honestly. Mm-hmm. We often see that as Black women, one, we have the angry Black woman. Mm-hmm. That's me, depending on which day you catch me.
Which day?
But we often see that again, once you hit official single status, mm-hmm. where a lot of us, based upon anger, mm-hmm. And unresolved issues, a lot of us run into, I can do this by myself. I don't need no help.
Yes,
would you agree that that's what leads us down the wrong slippery slope, to where we're losing those resources and time has gotten away from us to be able to capture them?
I think that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Single Parent Achievers is about. It's about helping you identify the rooted issues that are causing you that's hindering you. Mm-hmm. It helps you to identify, confront, and conquer. That's what we do. So it's about identifying those issues that we have that are rooted and embedded in us, and then it's about confronting them one by one, because we did not get there overnight, and then figuring out how to conquer those things. But if we can do that, then I think that helps us more so than being in that angry mode. Mm-hmm. If we're angry, it's like, I think I always talk about a power circle, understanding what your power circle is. But if you really are angry, then you're really possibly may not be able to connect with your power circle, but it's right there. When I realized and I got out of my mode of being angry and upset, with being in my state, I woke up out of I was awakened, and when I awakened, it was like everything was right there. My power circle was right there for me to have everything that I wanted, but the anger was stopping me from mm-hmm. getting to where it is that I had to get to. So I believe this is about identifying the rooted issues so that you can get the things that are rightfully deserving to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's important for us to note that there's certainly nothing wrong with being angry. We're trying to work on making sure that people understand that everything that you feel, your feelings are valid. Mm-hmm. What happens after those feelings, now that's something different.
That's something different.
So you can hold on to it and move forward, or you can feel it, understand it, mm-hmm. and then make a decision afterwards.
That's it.
Someone mentioned the other day, and I was actually watching on TV, and the discussion came about, well, I'm still mad about this, and I think I've gotten over this, but I think about it every day, and I'm mad about it. So I'm like, okay, so you over it, or you're not over it?
And maybe they go through seasons of it. It's like, I'm mad today, I'm better the next day, and I'm mad again. Because there's different situations that come up that puts you back into that place. If you're not healed, mm-hmm. it'll bring it right back to the surface. So you think you got past it, and just came right back because you really didn't heal.
Okay. Let's go. And I'm not going to play devil's advocate because, it's usually just me and my thoughts anyway, not the devil. So we're not going to blame him.
But now you have me up here, so we're together with our thoughts.
All things, again, relationships. I think it's really important when we're able to recognize that this is what happened in this relationship. And then I often hear people talking about, I need closure. And I love what Steve Harvey said about closure. Closure is for you and it's not for the other person.
Exactly.
And people always think that, I need to do this. I'm a big fan, and a lot of the research is shown that's not going to help you. That's actually more of a hindrance when you're seeking closure.
Right.
But I believe it's important to circle back with, now that this is over, now that the relationship is ended, now I have to go back to being a single parent. Now I have to go back to making sure the kids get to school on time, making sure they have clean socks in the morning, making sure that they have breakfast.
Exactly.
And so I think it's admirable that your organization discusses that mental healing to make sure that you can get to the next step.
It's very important. And just for the time that we've been in existence, I just love hearing the ladies when they are in the process of healing. I love it. I mean, we have this moment where we have a time to share. And when they're sharing, you could just feel the healing that has taken place over that time. And so we go through this for a whole year. So can you imagine within that year, you're sitting down and you're focusing on self. And one thing I've learned about single parents, because when I was one, it was, how like if you go to an event and they want to give you information, they give you all this literature. And as single parents, we're not about to, I did not read the literature. So,
did you read my flyer? No.
Yeah, a little bit. No. But what I learned in Single Parent Achievers is when we pull everybody together and we do the work together, I start seeing the transformation, the growth, the restoration, all that stuff just start happening because we're doing it together.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing it together. So you're not alone. You're doing it together. And so we're sitting down and we're doing work together. When we talk about a time to share, they're able to share certain things that they have went through and how they've overcome. And then that helps another lady. And then that person goes through something, that person shares a time to share their testimony, and then, that helps another person, and then just keeps going.
Sounds like what I also hear you saying is you're building an additional village and an additional community.
Amen.
Because we're doing it together.
Yes,
and when
we are.
we're talking together, we're at the location, at the meeting spot. Our children are probably doing homework together.
They are.
They're probably having snacks together.
Yes, they are.
We're also recognizing, your kid is in the same school district as mine. Okay, well, maybe we can connect, and maybe you can assist with pickup and or drop off.
Exactly.
And or your kid's a year behind mine. Hey, we have some nice clothes that I was going to give away.
That's it.
So I also
And
know that's
support.
important.
Exactly. So
Having
it's
that
recreating
support.
the village. It's trying to recreate something that once to exist and now recreating it once again. And we're finding that within Single Parent Achievers. And I absolutely love it. I just love the support that comes out of the organization as a whole.
Awesome. We have a lot of the data centers around a single parenthood because most of them, again, happen to be women because women have children.
Right.
And our fathers are also accompanied, but they come out of us, and then we work through that.
Right.
The Single Parent Achievers only service single mothers?
It's for single parents, or it's for men and women. And I, when I thought about this interview, I was, a call to action to the men, come out and hear more about what it is that we're doing, because we need you guys, because understanding the perspective of a man is very important. Understanding the perspective of a woman is very important.
You mean they're not the same?
They're so not the same, And so we need you guys to come out. So it's a call to action that you guys come out and hear more and see what it is that you can actually do to make an impact in our lives, just as we make an impact in yours.
That was one of the things that that truly drew me to you, Rochelle, because you work with both men and women. And oftentimes we hear that the males, one, they aren't aware of the resources and or for pride, and their bros talk about, you need to do this, you need to do this. They don't want to.
Right.
And I'm saying, and I know that you can piggyback on this, if you need help, you need to go get help.
Exactly.
And oftentimes it's something simple.
Exactly.
And as women, again, not only going back to that angry black woman, but that strong black woman, he's in here, he need help. Yeah, because we all do, and it's also
Exactly.
changing the conversation about, hey, how can I help this brother? Because we see them.
And
We see them in the grocery store
we do.
with their 2 little kids,
We
and
do.
they, trying to
Exactly.
get them together, or we see
Exactly.
them at school. Hey, I'm trying to find, waiting for my daughter. So it's having that interaction and that connection. Do you see that your folks, that your parents are? week's edition of Shaynel's 3 Cents, where I'm your host, Shaynel Caldwell from Our Blended Families. And this is my show where we talk about all things under the sun, and where I, your host, again, give you a little bit more than what most people give you. Most people give you 2. I'm giving you 3 because I always have a little bit extra to say the most. Anywho, again, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry we had to preempt the other show, running a little late today due to some additional technical difficulties, which they tend to follow me. But again, we're going to be grateful and move forward. We're actually starting the month of July. We're starting our Sister Girl Month, where we'll be having guests on. All of our guests this month will be women, and we'll be talking on a variety of topics, but each of them most likely will be centered around areas that concentrate on women, how to uplift women, how to support them, how to encourage them, and also how to help make sure that all that trickles down into how we raise our children and how we increase the value of healthy relationships in our lives. So before we bring on our first guest, I want to talk to you, as I always do, a little story that kind of is near and dear to my heart for a couple of reasons. One of the top drafts in the nation last year, his name is Conley. First name is Jerron or Jerrion, so forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name incorrectly. But he was the top draft out of Ohio State. I'm actually from Ohio. Would have went to Ohio State, but chose not to. But notwithstanding, he was looked at for a lot of folks as being one of the top contenders. And unfortunately, there was an allegation of rape that was held against him, and it happened just in time for the draft. So as many teams were looking at him, it was kind of an inconspicuous time where you kind of want to say you want to take him, but you're not really sure if, there's something going on with his personality or his behavior or anything like that. So ultimately, he ended up being drafted by the Raiders, my team, as a 24th pick. So lo and behold, from last year to this year, a jury decides, and I believe the incident happened in Cleveland, Ohio, but a jury decided that the allegations that were vetted against him by a young lady, they weren't able to move forward with them. And so the charges were dropped. Good thing for the woman, good thing for the man. Unfortunately, we also found out yesterday that Conley decided that he's going to press charges against the woman for making those allegations against him. When I hear that, I'm kind of, but I'm also kind of, that actually makes sense, because right now we're living in a nation where people are frequently being accused of things that they have not committed. There's nothing wrong with the allegation, but it's how you make it, how you stand up to it, and should you have made it in the first place. And so part of me is like, yes, I support this young man because he does have this future in front of him, because my team, the Raiders, we desperately need to get back. We need to get our 4th ring, y'all. But also we want to make sure that he has an opportunity to live his best life, just like that young lady. I bring that up because, as I mentioned, this is Sisterhood Month, Sister Girl Month. And the story that came out of it was that she was with her girls partying at a hotel, and apparently they saw each other in the lobby, or she saw him in the lobby, and she ended up leaving her group of sisters to go hang out with this gentleman in his hotel room. That is a complete no-no. That is completely against girl code. All women out there, I don't care how old you are, you should know that you do not leave your girls for no man that you do not know. I don't care what party we at. I don't care what city, what state we are, but you're not leaving for a man that you don't know. I don't care if it's Denzel. I don't care if it's Idris. I don't care if it's Chris Brown. We're not doing any of that. And so I kind of also have a side eye towards her girls. Why y'all let her get into that situation? Because of course, I'm sure they also felt bad when the allegations came out that, that their girl was assaulted. So now the case will continue, but from a different perspective, and this time from a young man trying to not only beat the rap because he beat the rap, but in the court of public opinion, there's still some side eyes. So now we'll be anxiously watching and seeing what happens with my Raiders' new draft pick. I think they drafted him as corner, Mr. Conley, and seeing what happened with this young lady. So again, we're going to talk a little bit more about sister circles and girl code, girl power, and all that good stuff. And we'll be right back after this break with our guest, my sister, Shar Robinson, author, poet, new life coach, and all that good stuff. But she'll be back, and we'll talk a little bit more, not only about that subject, but also how we can continue to bring each other together, how to support each other, and how to encourage each other as sister girls. We'll be back after this break. back, Voxwave family. Again, this is Shaynel's 3 Cents with your host, Shaynel Caldwell, and my guest, my baby sister, again, poet, author, and life coach, Shaynel Robinson. Hey, Shar.
Hey, girls, hey.
As I mentioned earlier, because we're doing Sister Girl Month, I thought it wholly appropriate to start with my sister, my girl, my ace boom coon from my mama's womb, my sister. Y'all like that? I'll have to repeat that later.
I like that. Ace boom coon from the womb.
So again, I'm actually excited to have her here because not only is she my sister, but she's also my friend. And any of our guests that have sisters, you have other siblings, you know what it's like to grow up with a sister, or you may have a cousin that you treat as your sister because you love her dearly. We grew up dressing alike all the time. Our mom, because we're a year and a half apart to the day, and so our mom dressed us alike. And when we were younger, people said, oh, there must be twins. It must be twins. And so a lot of people thought that we were twins when we were younger. So.
And we actually looked more alike when we were younger.
Yeah, back then. Yeah.
Because we don't look like sisters, which is
And
funny.
I don't look like the big sister either. So
I know. Interesting.
But notwithstanding, it's important for me to note that as we were raised together and we went through all the wonderful trials and tribulations that the Lord put our family through, and of course emerge as victors because we walk in victory.
Amen.
It wasn't until we became mature that we actually became friends. So there's something to having a sister and loving your sister, but there's also something to making a connection with another sister girl.
Absolutely. One thing I wanted to point out is that I think it's our mother's fault because she made us...
Your mama's fault?
Well, we have the same one. But she made us be friends.
Yes.
And she made us be friends, I guess because I didn't have any of my own, and Shaynel had all the friends and was appearing to have all the fun, so my mom would make me hang out with Shaynel. She would push Shaynel on me, and Shaynel didn't like that. Shaynel did not like that. And that, for us to become adults and to evolve into a friendship is amazing, because I can truly say now you are my friend, because before this it was like we're sisters but we're not really friends. Mm-hmm. But now we can say that we're friends, and that's very special.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also important to note that as we're both parents, I have 2 children, my sister has 3 children. Our kids are
3 adult children.
Yeah,
empty nester. Hello.
Yeah. But our kids are also friends, and that was something that we also foster because, as my sister mentioned, we got that from our mom. That you will be friends, you will hang out, you will look after your sister. And even though at the time I may not have liked it because
she was selfish,
and my sister was quirky,
and she was controlling.
I'm still controlling.
But you were that then.
Okay.
You didn't have to.
I'm a little less controlling, depending on what circle you run in with me. So.
You've gotten better. It depends on the circle.
But it did allow us an opportunity, to kind of step back and look at each other as individuals, and not because we had to be friends. I used to make the joke with our brother, because we also have an older brother, that if my brother and I were not family, he'd still be my friend. And I would say, I don't know if I could say the same for my sister, because she's a little special.
Yeah. I would not be friends with my brother or my sister if we were not siblings. I'm sure of it.
You supposed to say, look, that was then.
That was then. We would be we would have a transactional relationship.
Absolutely.
It would be nothing more, nothing less.
And I think part of that, has to do with the not only the time that you invest, because a lot of people make the assumption that because you spend time with someone, oh, I invested all this time. No, nobody cares about that. You can invest more time in someone else. So please don't fall into that trap that your relationships are based on how much time you spend together.
No.
But it was the quality time and the actual investment to where I actually need somebody to talk to. I need someone to be in my corner. Well, I know my sister's there because she has to be there. That's family. And in doing that...
nobody has to. For the record, we know all the people that rejected us, and they didn't have to be there, and they were not there. So I just wanted to make that point.
That's a point, but we're going to push that on the side. Because the good thing about family is that you can't divorce your family. You can choose other people to be your friends and stuff, but you can't get away from them. Okay. And so circling back to that, being able to say, well, since you're there, let me see if I can actually be your friend. Let me see if we can actually, talk about this. And even though there are things that, things that we do differently, things that we agree upon, things that we disagree upon, we actually were able to look at each other as not only sisters, but actually as individuals and people.
Amen. Amen.
So, anywho, so with that being said, that kind of ties into your sisterhood outside of this, because we also have folks that say, oh, well, that's my friend, but. If it's your sister girl, that's a different type of friend. And you owe those women something differently. And even if you don't know those women, you still ought to respect the fact that it is a woman and she's part of us. It's just us. And it's not us versus them. It's men and women. And so there should be a level of respect that we give each other as women. There should be a level of respect that we give each other as mothers. There should be a level of respect that we give each other as we fall into additional subcategories. If you're a teacher, if you're a student, if you ride motorcycles, if you're in a sorority or anything like that. So there are different subcircles. But first and foremost, because those are your only two options, you're either the sister girl or you're the sister guy.
Okay.
Actually, that's not, I didn't mean to say that. Sister girl or bro.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
So, anywho, Charmel has the last, how long have you been doing sister circles?
Shay.
I got mine honest. You just adopted your. But she's been doing sister circles for quite some time. And I thought that it was profound when she started telling me that she was doing sister circles, gathering her groups of lady friends together to support and encourage them and kind of breathe insight into their lives. I found that phenomenal because I'm like, really? You didn't do that with me? But I also realized that I'm like, she did. She did it frequently. I just didn't realize that the newness of what it was when it was being introduced to other people. So with that, if you can, please share with our audience what you do when you have your sister circles and how you got started doing it and why it's important to you to continue to do such.
Okay, first of all, I've been doing sister circles since I was 27 years old. And I can remember that because it's when I turned my life around, and I was in my first year of junior college at 27 years old, and I was at a point that I was starting to empower myself and grow up at the same time. And for some reason, I've always been a hard-headed kid, but I've also had some wisdom and some maturity about myself that didn't make me all the way, different. But nevertheless, I started my sister circles because I was reading Iyanla Vanzant's, one of her early books, and she had made a comment about her soul's family in one of her books. And when I read the statement in the book, it was just surrounded by text, but when I read that, and I was already reading about what she was doing with her sister circle, and she also told me that if you can't find what you're looking for, you can create it. And I was like, wow, this is just amazing. So I got the idea from Iyanla Vanzant, almost 20 years ago, it seems like. But in the same token, what I started doing was gathering. I got a couple of close friends together, Latasha Clark and Don.
Hey, Tasha.
Hey. And they became the people who were committed with me on this journey to assisting me and helping make sure that the ladies were welcome. Not only that, I needed to use some of their friends to get them in the group because, we have to grab from all of our sources. But what I did was I brought the ladies together. It would be potluck style, but we always had a lesson. I was teaching at 27 years old. I was teaching and I was engaging my sister friends, and I was showing them through the workshops. We always had a different topic for the workshop. But through that, not only just through the workshop, but another thing that we did is we went to church together. We went to events together outside of, the sister circle. We became friends, and we started a tradition, and it's still going on today. And we'll be having our our annual sister circle in Sacramento next month. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But again, the sister circles are always different because we always have a topic. We always have a workshop. It's workshop based. And it's encouragement, it's support, it's, taking off your shoes, coming to the table, sharing of yourself. Is just an empowering event for sister girls to get together and mingle with other women that they don't know and just be encouraging and just be there, because there's so many people that do not have genuine friendships, and the sister circle is a place to come where you can feel, we're going to share some secrets. We're going to we have women. I used to do poetry. We have women who dance. We have women who played instruments. I mean, it just turns out to be what you make it. But again, we always have a workshop and a topic, and we just encourage each other. And it's amazing. It's amazing what it turns out to be. And I'm so honored to be able to do it, because I'm realizing that some other people are getting wind of it and they're doing it themselves. But I call myself an original creator. I must continue to serve in this capacity, because it means a lot to a lot of people, especially me. And it's called my Soul's Family Sister Circle, which is some text that I got from Iyanla Van Zant's book. So it's just an amazing experience, but it is what you make it all the time.
Okay.
And it's great.
Yeah, I'm actually excited that I'm planning to finally attend after all these years, because I'm never in California when you're in California doing these. So this will be my first time coming in and joining the Sister Circle.
Absolutely.
So have you ever had any folks that come? Are they, have you essentially broken down any barriers? You have the ladies that come, maybe some of the ladies that you know, some of our, the women in our circle, and maybe some of their external friends that they brought. Have you been able to see women come out of their shell or realize that, hey, this is the path that I was on, but now I realize from being in this group that, I want to tread a new path?
What I can speak to that is there's women who definitely come out of their shell, because one thing that we always know, that if you're in a room and you get an opportunity to talk about yourself, all hands are going to go up. And that's what we do. We talk about ourselves. It's all about self-awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, just sisterhood, because we're all going through something. And what we always find out at the Sister Circle is that one of our sisters is going through something, and they need our support. And it's also an opportunity for them to get it off of their mind and to, seek opinions across the board. And it's always good and wholesome. And I appreciate that. And a lot of women have come out of their shell, as well as women, always tell me, thank you, we should do this all the time, different things like that. And I just appreciate the opportunity that we have this
Venue?
Yes, we have this venue, this opportunity to share and to come together, because surely we don't do it enough. And it's always amazing. Always. And last year we did balloon releases, we did affirmations, we vowed to do certain things in our life. We always hold hands in a circle, and we always feel the sisterhood. I mean, it's just amazing. And I hope to get it on videotape one day, because I believe that this is something that America needs to see. And it's a show that I'm going to continue to pray to God that He allows me to produce one day, because the Sister Circles are amazing. And they have one on TV now. It's called Sister Circle Live.
Oh, really?
You never seen it? Yes, they have Sister Circle Live. And the R&B star from R&B Divas, I can't think of all of their names. Not Monifa. She's married to the football player. Okay, you don't know. Okay, but nonetheless, they do have a live Sister Circle show, but it's just a talk show. It's not the actual activity in the workshop of what I do when I do the Sister Circle. So I hope that this is something that we can take to the next level.
Awesome. One of the things that's always important to me is growth. And I think that that's something oftentimes as women, and I believe it's part of our womanly nature, that we want to help people. We want to make sure people feel comfortable, is challenging our sister circles. As I mentioned earlier with the young lady who left her girlfriends to, go off with the football player. Are there moments where you have to bring that up or mention, hey, these are things that we need to be mindful of, and making sure that you're doing the right thing as a sister girl and not abusing another sister girl or putting another girl down, putting another woman down, and or watching them go into a destructive path, whether it's, bad men, domestic violence, financial decisions or anything like that? Because if not, that's what I'm going to do when I get there. So the thing is, with the group, we have a moment in the program, because there is a program where each woman can speak about anything that's on their heart. It can be a comment,
or it can be encouragement, it can be advice, whatever comes to heart, we can talk about. And I think that it is a good idea to put that back on the table, but not really, especially with our group, but like with the younger group, because I also do a bro circle and a young woman sister circle, and that group, we definitely want to be able to talk about that, because when we were young, we didn't leave each other at the club. We all left together. You come together, you leave together. No other way of looking at it. Nobody was allowed to be a thought on our watch, So I think that we definitely need to say that to our kids, because our age group should know it, but we can definitely put it on the table, because we like to talk.
I don't make that assumption anymore. I don't make that assumption. Grandma used to say common sense ain't as common as it used to be.
You true, but we don't hang out like that. So
I'm not talking about that. I'm like, because there are other things.
We're beyond that one. But so I don't know, because I don't have any wild friends.
No, I'm not just talking about, look, leaving people at the club. I'm talking other instances of where you catch your sister girl behaving badly.
Oh, okay. Well, we good at checking each other. Your friends can check you. It's them other people.
No, and look, and that bears
people
repeating.
Take offense quick, especially when they wrong. So that's a sister girl moment, but it is what it is. But yeah, if I saw you doing something, inappropriate and not right, then I would definitely say something, just like you would say something to me. So, it's important to definitely be able to have those conversations, because, authenticity and the true spirit of sisterhood and womanhood will allow another sister not to be offended, because it could be offended.
You can be offended. You can be offended, but it needs to be long lived.
You need to nip it in the bud.
And I say that about a lot of feelings, just like jealousy. You can be jealous, but that needs to be long lived. Short lived. You're offended. That needs to be short lived. So you need to let that go.
Absolutely.
I remember and I want to say I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people. But I also have folks that I connect with more often than not because of situations or activities that I might be involved in. But I do have the blessing of having some awesome women that I connect with. And I'm reminded of a situation in my life to where I was dating, and the guy that I was dating had a wife, and my sister girls was like, oh, okay, well, good luck and hope, and I'm just like, okay. And I wish I would have had like some more of my sister girls that was like, kind of in your face, because of course that's something that, we should be talking about. Again, none of us is perfect. None of us are ever going to be perfect, but being able to recognize when your sister girl stepping outside of something that's not healthy for her.
Absolutely.
And like we said before, being offended about something, it's okay for you to be offended. That means that you care. It's okay to get jealous. That means that you care. It's okay to get upset. That means that you care. But I think we need to do a better job as women and as black women of taking care of our sister girls and calling each other on the carpet, when we're doing something that we shouldn't be doing.
Absolutely. We just have to be careful doing it, because some of these sister girl relationships, whatnot, may not be true, authentic relationships where everybody's willing to be transparent. And I've just seen, some situations arise that I don't want to be involved in. You just got to be careful who you can keep it real with sometimes, especially if you're not pulling them to the side and keeping it a one-on-one. In a group, it's going to be difficult, because the girl is probably going to be defensive because she already in her feelings, and she already knows that she may not be making the right choice, and to hear it corporately could be offensive. So I'm just saying we can do it, but we just have to be careful how we do it, because I know so many people that wear their feelings on their sleeve, so many women who cannot accept positive feedback or negative feedback. So, which goes into mental health. Everybody's not willing to accept it, when you're willing to accept criticism. And I work with students. I have students and parents, senior girls, and parents who cannot even accept feedback, good or bad. And I just look at it like, oh my God, that's crazy. And the position that I have at work, I have to tell you what's going on, and I have to put up with the behavior that comes behind it at the same time. So for myself, I just want to encourage everybody to be careful about who you talk about sensitive things with. And if it needs to be a private moment, make sure it's private.
Absolutely. And I'm a big proponent of that as well. Particularly speaking to someone about something that you feel is concerning them. One, because you should have their best interest at heart. If you don't, keep it moving. People oftentimes will come back and say, well, why'd you say that? And why did you bring that to me? And I didn't appreciate this. Well, one is because I care. Because if I didn't care, I wouldn't tell you that the bridge is out ahead. Just keep on going. Have a nice trip. So it's one of those things where you have to evaluate your relationship. And I think the best relationships are those where you're willing to go out on that ledge and say, hey, I got your back. However, let me also make sure you are aware, because you may not have known, because some of us do have tunnel vision and we can't see the things on the outside.
Absolutely.
That, there are things happening, i.e. you're, as I mentioned before, that you're in a abusive relationship, whether it's financial abuse, where, you coming home and your money gone from, the gentleman that you're with, child abuse, where your kids are being abused by the gentleman in your life, whether or not you're hurting other women maliciously, like, again, dating their husbands, dating their boyfriends, messing with your relatives, boyfriends, things of that nature. But when there's something that's going on by someone that you're affected by, even if you do know them, it's a different type of approach. If you don't know them, then it's something else that you may want to take. But it's definitely worth speaking to a sister girl about, hey, are you good? Is everything okay? Because sometimes they just want to know that you're there for them, and that, they have someone that they can talk to, or at least scrub the surface with, hey, I'm kind of concerned about this. What do you think about this? So,
absolutely. Yeah. We definitely have to, have those exchanges, but we have to know your sister friend. Know her triggers.
Or sometimes this will help you get to know her.
And this will also help you get to know them. But I think the key word is know your sister friend. Because it can turn. They'll apologize, and you'll apologize too. I'm good at apologizing when I know that I've done something wrong, and you know that too.
What about when you don't know? And I keep telling you that you're doing something wrong.
I'm good at asking people to forgive me for the simple fact that where I want to go for eternity, I don't want that on my ledger.
That's what I said. My daddy be on me. I'll be like, okay, I got it. So,
okay.
I think that it's also worth repeating because of the work that I do with OBF, where we see these mass numbers of court cases for custody and visitation and divorce and separation, to where you see the women that are, well, I'm taking him from this and I'm not letting him see his kids because of this and this and that. I'm like, where are your sister girls? Your sister girls should be like, don't do that. He has your kids all the time. And don't do that. He's making sure that everything is taken care of. Or don't do that. Make sure you understand what's going on, because that's the part that I see so much corruption in. And I do question. I'm like, well, how come, where are her girlfriends at while she's taking this man to court saying he can't see his kids because he didn't come pick them up at 6 o'clock and he got there at 6:30.
And so many people just are not really self-aware, and other people might see it and they just may feel like they're not going to come across the way that they would like to, so it becomes toxic. I think a lot of people don't say a lot of things because they know it's not going to be received well. Now,
time and a place for everything.
Absolutely.
Time and a place for everything.
So it's interesting.
There was a young woman. Her name is Sophia Nelson. She's an award-winning journalist and author. She actually authored the 2011 book that was widely well-received, called Black Woman Redefined, Dispelling Myths and Discovering Fulfillment in the Age of Michelle Obama. And she actually wrote an article in the Huffington Post a couple years ago called Time to Put the Sister Back in Sisterhood. And some of the points that she brought out were actually reminiscent of biblical points. One of my, I know it's not mine. I think it was yours. One of your favorite Bible verses. I mean, I like it, but not one of my favorite. But 1 Corinthians 13:4, where they talk about what love is. And she eventually ran through.
I thought it was 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter.
Nope. 1 Corinthians 13,
okay.
4 and 7.
It's been a minute.
But for those of you that aren't aware, bring it back to your recollection. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others, nor is it self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. And so when looking at the sheet, she said these things, and they were so simple. And as I was reading, I'm like, okay, all that's in the Bible. But simple things to help us get back into being a better sister girl to our sister girls. And so if you want to go with me about, elaborating a little bit more, love doesn't give up. As Shar said earlier, sometimes, people don't receive it because, they're not ready to, or they're not ready to apologize. They're not ready to accept that they're wrong. You don't give up on your friend. Give her some time to let it settle in. Give her some time to maybe, get that positive mental health reevaluation. Okay, I'm good now. I'm no longer toxic. I'm no longer angry. And circle back with her. So don't give up on your sister girls. So.
It's important. It's important. But when I think about love never gives up, I can't help but think about, relationships when, like, wow, if I loved you, then, why do I want to leave you?
Sometimes you need to leave them because you do love them.
Yeah, so it's just interesting, how individual people would look at love never gives up. I mean, because, with our kids, we know that that's unconditional love. With our parents, we know that's unconditional love. But, the honest answer, too, is that we don't always have, love that never gives up towards our sister friends. Mm-hmm. So it's a slippery slope. Mm-hmm.
And
amen.
And it could be that, again, the not giving up is not to say, well, I'm through with you. I don't want to talk to you. You're dead to me. But being able to circle back. If she needs more than a couple months, you send her a text and respond. Give her a couple more. So
absolutely,
give her some time.
Absolutely. Well, and that goes with knowing your friends and knowing what they need. Because I know I've had friends that told me that they've needed space, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't need space. But I have to respect the fact that, okay, you need some space, so I'll give you space. As a matter of fact, I've given some friends some years space. It's time to circle back around. So, amen.
Amen. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Okay, because I do love them. Amen.
And again, going down to elaborate a little bit more, it says love doesn't want what it doesn't have. I think that also ties into the envy part, where you see your girl, she got a promotion, she got a new purse, she got a new man, her kids, got a scholarship or something, but don't be envious of your girlfriends. It's okay to do that. Take that part when that envy comes in your heart. Take that step back for a second. Say, dang, well, how can I get that? Or maybe I need to ask her, do I need to go to another bank to get better financing? Or do I need to, go talk to such and such at the mall to see if I can get that purse for the same 25% discount? But being able to check your envy and turn it into a positive and relish and be happy for your sister girls instead of being jealous.
Absolutely. That's important. That's definitely important. I can say that, this can be, it can be difficult. Love cares more for others than for self. I always like to say I'm others-centered and not self-centered. Mm-hmm. I'm self-full and not selfless. So it's all about keeping your cup full. If your cup is full, then, what's running out of your cup is goodness, kindness, peace, meekness. So we just want to be careful that we keep our own cup full, because if your cup is full, you don't have time to be worried about what's in your sister's cup.
That's true.
Amen.
That's true. That's part of, don't revel in other people's unhappiness. You see someone fall, your sister girl, again, maybe she lost a job or, something happened in a meaningful relationship for her. Be supportive, be encouraging.
Absolutely.
And if you can't, send her to someone else. People that know my sister and I, they know that I don't look, and y'all viewers know, I don't do warm and fluffy. But when we were young, some of my best friends would call me when they were hurting, and I'd give them the straight up answer, which would be, well, you shouldn't have did that. You wouldn't be crying if you had done that. But then I would also send them to my sister where she would, allow them to talk and cry, and, she would comfort them.
I would listen.
Yeah, you would listen, but you would also comfort. You would comfort.
And comfort, absolutely. Yeah. Encouraging words.
And like I said, so again, if it's something that you can't do, make sure she has some other comfort somewhere, and you can, send her someone else that can help her.
Amen. That's important, and that's why I'm a life coach. Amen.
Okay, so one of the other things that I also want to leave you all with, that Angela Coleman, she's also a writer, a motivational speaker, and she's also well known. She has a book called The Girl's Guide, which is a guide to how to be a sister. And she also has a website where women can go to, and she has a nationwide of followers, women from different parts of the globe that tune in. They share books, they share stories, they get together on, I believe they have a couple podcasts and different events going on the website. And so she's been a huge contributor to the sisterhood movement too. So hopefully you all can go and find either that book on Amazon or to get some additional details about that. She also utilizes what we call the Sisterhood of Greatness Manifesto, and that was by Blanche Williams. Blanche Williams is also very successful because she is not only a motivational speaker, but she does speaks about finances, good mental health. I mean, just a variety of things that center around, taking care of our sisterhood, but it starts with taking care of self.
Amen.
And so they expound on that a little bit more about how to, redefine your identity, how to revolutionize your thinking, how to restore your own hope, how to rebuild your soulful spirit. And so oftentimes, if you're not able to connect with your sisterhoods, your sister girls, you need to look inward and see how that affects you. What's going on with you that you may need some more support from your sisters, or you may need some more time to, self-evaluate what's going on in your heart, in your mind, and in your life. So.
Absolutely.
And that also brings me to the book, which we forgot to promote. So you want to promote the book, Shar?
Not really, but
I think it's profound because I know that you poured a lot into yourself, a lot of yourself into this book to help you get to where you are, because you wrote that book a long time ago.
Absolutely.
A very long time ago.
And this was me doing my work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm one person that can say before Iyanla Van Zandt got a show fixing other people's life, she had already fixed mine. So I'm an advocate for Iyanla Van Zandt, but also for other women to do their work. Her book was the first book that I read when I started reading full-length books, and I've been a fan from day one. But for me, it's all about doing your work, and I can't show you how to do your work if I can't prove to you that I've already done mine. I have gone through all the chapters of my life. The pages in my book is a display of the hardships and the triumphs that I've had to overcome and go through. But the good thing about it is that I was able to forgive myself and forgive others that hurt me, and also not let those relationships go to hell. Mm-hmm. All my relationships have been forgiven. And that's amazing, because we go through years of torment. Like, I forgave somebody that hurt me, like, when I was 16 years old, and to be able to get forgiveness, and not even face to face, but on Facebook, but being able to have the conversation, that's amazing. And, Life Class also taught me how to have those hard conversations. But in the same token, we have to be able to go through our lives mentally, either by ourselves or with the life coach or with someone, to be able to dig up those areas of hurt and pain. Mm-hmm. If you don't dig up those areas, then you're carrying it. And I feel like that's a cancer. Mm-hmm. And I've watched so many people die of cancer. I didn't want that sickness in my body. So I said, let me do everything that I have to do to pull it out of me so that I'm not living with it. And also now I can show other people how to be free. And it's just amazing. But my book is available at Amazon.com, and I'm looking forward to my new website being available by September, and it's going to be SharTheLifeCoach.com. So check it out. But for now, if you're interested in the book, it is available at Amazon.com. I Am Precious, Diary of My Life from Sin to Salvation, and it has a lot of pictures in it, and a lot of great and amazing transforming stories. And I know that it will encourage you, especially if you've dealt with crisis and chaos in your life. This is a book that will definitely help you, as well as others.
And there's some pictures in there that I drew myself, too. So, no, I'm just kidding.
A lot of family pictures, because I'm visual, and I wanted to make sure I told the story. So me, my mom, my brother, my sister, everybody's in this book, and it's just amazing. So if you're interested...
Tell us about your other book as well.
What other book?
The other book that you wrote.
Free by Love?
Mm-hmm.
Free by Love is a book of poetry. I used to do slam poetry, and it's just my book of poetry, and I really don't like leading people there because it's
I do. I love it.
Free by Love. I was in my 20s. I was heart aching, and everything that I wrote pretty much is very interesting.
It's raw, it's deep, it's from the heart, and like I said, if you're a poet and you love good urban poetry, you definitely want to check that book out as well. So, yeah,
absolutely, yes. It's for the archive. It's for the archive. But I will be having a new book coming out soon with my journey with the life coach experience. So I'm looking forward to journaling the women's stories, of course, getting their position, but journaling their experience, because other people need to see other people come out. Mm-hmm. And, what they've experienced. So I'm looking to do something very impactful, but I'm waiting on the Spirit, to lead and guide me, because I know that, what He has for me is for me. And so many different opportunities and doors and resources are opening to me because I'm in a different place. And I'm just thankful for being in a different place because I'm not where I came from.
Absolutely.
I'm not where I came from. Amen.
And as I started earlier in the conversation, we talked about where she came from having no friends as a child and, being an introvert, not being able to speak with people, to now she's leading sister groups and coaching other people how to have healthy lives and be in charge of having, good emotional health. So kudos to you, Shar. I'm so proud of you.
Amen. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you in my Drake voice.
Thank you. And you taught me how to be a better sister. And a friend.
You.
So thank you. I appreciate that.
I learned that from you. It was a dual thing.
Okay. And I learned how to get along with left brain people from you and my brother. So thank you. I'm right brain. She's left brain. Amen.
But I love her anyway. So before we wrap up, we just want to conclude going back into, again, this is July. So for Shaynel's 3 Cents this month, we'll be talking all things sister girls, how to empower, uplift. And as I will say again, how to, call our sister girls on the carpet so that we can do better. That's always the goal. It's all about change and growth. And for those of you that aren't there yet, maybe we can catch a little bit later. You don't have to grow when we grow. You don't have to develop when we develop. All the eggs in the nest don't hatch at the same time. So there's still some time for you to pick up on that. And as Shar says, sometimes, you have to give people time. But you certainly want to come back. You don't want to give up. And that's, again, following on with what we started with, 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7, about what love is and how we can transfer that love to our sister girls. Because, again, it's just us women. It's us women and us men. And so when we can learn how to better relate to our sister girls, we'll be better for our children. We'll be better for our men.
Absolutely.
We'll be better for society. And so as we close, I'm going to have Sharmell bless us with a little something for the road.
Shar. This is just an affirmation I developed with my students, and it's also something that I develop individually with people who see me as their life coach. But this is a daily affirmation that I have my students record in a phone so that they can listen to it every morning, especially when they're experiencing a trigger. They can remember where they are and recenter themselves. So, I am blessed. Deep down in my soul, where the woman I am trying to become is screaming to evolve. The broken pieces of my heart are mending. Every empty space is being filled with love, joy, peace, and kindness. The fears and insecurities of my past are erased. Today, I am creating new possibilities. I am slow to anger, quick to forgive, and calm in my mannerisms. I have positive mental health. My attitude is kind. My motivation is unstoppable, and my purpose is perfect. My dominant negative thought patterns do not control my life. I surrender to the will of the Almighty, knowing in due season, if I faint not, every battle and every struggle is preparing me for where the Almighty is taking me. I am not defined by my past. I am prepared by my past. I may not be perfect, but my purpose is perfect. I am the love I seek. I am above and not beneath, the head and not the tail. I am not at risk. I am at possibility. And right now, I am where I am supposed to be. Amen. And this right here has been helping a lot of young ladies, and I'm thankful. Thankful.
All right. Look, thank you so much. That was beautiful. That was certainly a blessing. Of course, took me back to the good book. But again, we want to say thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode of Shaynel's 3 Cents with my host, the awesome poet, author, life coach, Miss Shar. And again, we hope you enjoy the show. And remember, if you don't like it, at least you heard it. We'll see you back next week.
Amen.
Central Park, New York City, sun was shining, and this song came from the skies.